Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we're back with another Parisian apartment. This is the last one in the series and I'm so happy to finally be finishing off this area of Windenburg, which I'd like to refer to as the Old Town, because I feel like this area works really well with European style builds. I feel like Parisian style buildings work really well in this area, so I'm really happy to finally finish off this mini series because I am so excited to finally get my hands on university later this week. But back to this build, today we're basically building this Parisian loft. Basically it's a two-story apartment. It's fully furnished for a single sim, and once again for the exterior I went very traditional. So it's another typical Parisian Haussmannian style on the exterior. However, on the inside, once again I went for something that's a little bit more modern / contemporary. I think that's kind of the theme that I tried to carry on throughout this series, is that yes, for the exterior it's very, quintessentially Parisian, but for the interior it's kind of like a mix between modern, traditional, and classical elements. I also wanted each one of these buildings to be unique in their own way. So the first one had a little bit more of an industrial vibe. The second one definitely was more glamorous and more classic. And then this one I feel like has a little bit more of an eco minimalist vibe. You'll see it more when we get into the interior. But I gotta say, out of all of the builds, this is probably the one that was the most technically complicated, simply because literally half of this build is in the roof. And I gotta say, there's two things that make that incredibly difficult. First of all is the lighting, because basically indoor spaces in roofs have outdoor lighting, which is really annoying. And the camera was such a pain to work with. So hopefully you guys will bear with me in this video. If the camera gets too all over the place, then that's just basically how the camera works in The Sims 4. There's really nothing I can do about it. Anyway, that being said, I'm really happy with how this build turned out. I really love doing these lofts because I personally love the idea of living in unconventional houses, especially in The Sims, where majority of the houses are suburban houses. We do have some apartments, but there's very little in the way of customization when it comes to those. So I'm very much looking forward to what kind of new features university comes with, because I'm looking forward to building dorms in university. So yes, the thing about building lofts in The Sims is that you kind of have to finish the structure first, because once you've finished it, there's very little in the way of editing it once it's completely built. So in this case, you gotta make up your mind on what you want it to be on the inside as you're building the exterior, because like I said, you can't really change a lot of it once you've built it without making some major adjustments. So yeah, at this point I think most of the loft is done. Definitely the inside has all been figured out. I went for a more open floor plan. Pretty much the entire loft space is one single room, and here we're just building the next door buildings, which are once again in this Haussmannian style. I didn't really dwell on these too much because I really wanted the focus of this series to be on the apartments themselves, but I am showing you guys some of the building process for the buildings next door, just so you guys can have a little bit of an idea of what they look like and how they complement the loft that we're building, because essentially that's their purpose. They're just there to kind of like carry on that effect of having this row of townhouses here in this little neighborhood that we're working on. So yeah, you guys might notice that the loft itself has once again that open door technique, which is another thing that I try to carry on in all of the builds in this series. So each one of them does have this open door technique, which is basically just putting an archway and on either side just putting in a door and making it look like it's an open door, because who doesn't love, you know, nature and the outdoors. But here I'm just adding in a little extension at the back of this loft because we needed a way to access this through some sort of stairwell, so that's how I incorporated that. And yeah, I'm just adding in a balcony over here at the back as well because I felt like we needed a little bit more of outdoor space for relaxation. So once again, I'm putting in that open door technique, which I actually really do enjoy. So you guys can look forward to seeing more of that in more of my future builds. But here you guys can now see me starting work on furnishing this loft, which I think is probably the highlight of this video anyway. But I gotta say, I really love this loft. I've done many of these before, and I gotta say this is definitely one of my favorite ones. I love being able to incorporate that L-shaped staircase because this is probably my second loft that I built since we got the, you know, configurable staircase patch, and I'm really excited to utilize that. And yes, I love that flooring as well. I think that's one of the reasons why I say this is more of like an eco-minimalist style, because of that flooring, because of that light wood flooring. But yeah, here we're working on the kitchen. There's a lot of whites in this as well. Normally that would be very boring, but I think it all came together really nicely in the end, and I feel like everything just looks very nice and fresh and minimalist, which is kind of like a phase that I'm going through at the moment. I don't know why. It's probably because of my busy schedule and the fact that I'm surrounded by such a mess of clutter in my real life apartment that I kind of am in the mood to just do minimalist builds at the moment. By the way, I love this L-shaped sofa technique I'm doing using these love seats from My First Pet Stuff. I know that that's a very unpopular pack, but I actually really enjoy using a lot of the items in that pack. As much as I'm trying to avoid using those in my builds, I just can't help it. But yeah, I also discovered this really awesome picnic table. I've never used it in a build before. To be honest, I've never actually seen it before this build, but I was looking through different tables and I saw that one picnic table that came with the holiday pack, I believe. I've never seen it before, so I just fell in love with it instantaneously. I wanted to have this area right here where we have kind of like a more formal dining area, because there's a little dining breakfast area in the kitchen. I wanted this to be a little bit more formal. Not really, because it also looks like a casual hangout spot, but I wanted to fill in the space with another dining area. And I also kind of had a tricky time cluttering up the shelf, so you guys can see I'm putting in those like 10 million pots on that picnic table because all of the items that I was trying to put on the shelf kept snapping onto that. But now that I've talked about the build, I just want to take a second to touch on Discover University. So ever since I put out my last builds, we have had a ton of information regarding the upcoming University expansion pack, and I gotta say, I have mixed feelings about what to expect from University, because first of all, it has been confirmed that classes will be a rabbit hole thing, which to be honest is very disappointing, because I was looking forward to going to class with my sim and kind of pulling pranks on the professor and stuff like that. Some people say it was going to be boring, but I don't think so. I personally really enjoy active careers. I don't even think I play the conventional careers anymore ever since we got active careers, so I was really hoping they would do something around that kind of active career system. But you know, it is what it is. That being said, I'm still really excited to see what else university has to offer. I'm looking forward to exploring the new campuses that we're going to be getting. We're getting 2 in this pack, Foxbury and Bridgester, and each one of them has their own personality, so I'm really looking forward to discovering what they have to offer. I'm also very curious to see how the new majors are going to impact the existing careers that we have in game, specifically careers that came with expansion packs and some of the active careers as well. Of course, I'm looking forward to some of the build buy mode items as well as the new building stuff, and of course I'm looking forward to the new careers that we're going to be getting. I believe we're getting 3 new careers. I know that we're getting engineering and teaching, and then there's another one, I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it was a lawyer, but yeah, I'm really excited to get my hands on it, so hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. Moving back to this build, we're now furnishing this upstairs area, which is pretty much the bedroom. I love having these open loft windows. Technically they're not windows, they're actually glass roofs, but you know, I like them. I really love this room. The only problem I have with it is the fact that it doesn't have interior lighting. I really hope they do something about that, because it does look really weird if you take a screenshot and the other half of the build is lit with outdoor lighting. It's kind of weird. But that being said, I really like that upper floor. It's fully functional. I have tested it out. You will have to replace that chair on the desk, because I just like putting chairs on desks on an angle. But yeah, also you guys probably noticed me putting in these feather paintings and artworks. I've been using that quite a lot in the series as well, but I think I put the most amount in this build, and I think that's pretty much it for the interior. So moving on to this balcony area, I thought about putting a bar in here, but I couldn't fit it, so I put this meditation chair instead, which came with Spot A, and I really like that idea actually, I gotta say. But yeah, I feel like some items from Spot A are definitely underutilized, so I'm really happy to be able to incorporate some of them in this build. But yeah, moving on to some furnishing over here downstairs. We're just pretty much furnishing this main entrance area, and I did intentionally make it dingy and kind of old looking, because I feel like this is definitely more of you know, it's more of like a budget apartment, even though a lot of you will disagree with that. A lot of you will probably say that this is a super luxurious apartment, and I agree, but for the outside I wanted it to look kind of like it was less luxurious, so that's what I went for in this main kind of lobby area. So I just put in some lockers and some letter boxes, which I thought was a nice little detail. I put a bench in there as well as a fire extinguisher, which is another item that just adds a little bit more realism to the builds. And there's also a backdoor entrance to this as well, so if your sim wants to be a little bit more discreet, they can enter it through that area as well. There's no elevator in this apartment, so the sims have to go through a couple of flights of stairs to get to their apartment. But other than that, we're just putting in some plants hanging from the balcony, and also some of these lights and some trees to pretty much decorate this front walkway area, which I actually really enjoy. The trees I used here are mostly from Get Together actually, which is perfect because it matches this whole area of Windenburg. But that being said, I think that's going to be it for this build. So hopefully you guys enjoy this series, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to share and subscribe for more Sims 4 content. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my commentary right here. Thank you so much for watching. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.